Okay, we're going to do a quick review for tomorrow. I've got 10 questions here so we can review for tomorrow's test. Okay, we have positive 2/8 plus positive 3/8. I see that my denominators are the same, so red rover, bring that denominator right over. My focus is not good today. Okay, now I'm going to check my signs. They're the same, so that means I'm going to add and I'm going to get 5. And you keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is positive 5/8. Let me try turning the light on, see if that'll help with my focus. Oh, maybe that's it. I just needed to turn it a little bit. Okay, 6/7 minus negative 2/7. I know that this says positive 6/7 minus negative 2/7. First thing I check is, are my denominators the same? They are, so red rover, bring that 7 right over. Now I'm going to check, is it an addition problem? It is not, so I need to change it to an addition problem. So my minus sign changes to a plus sign, and if my minus changes to a plus, then the next sign also changes to the opposite, which is positive. Now I do have an addition question, so I can check to see if my signs are the same. They are, so that means I'm going to add 6 plus 2 is 8, and it is positive, and that will simplify to 1 and 1/7, and it is positive. Negative 4/5 plus negative 2/3. The first thing I check is, are my denominators the same? They are not, so I need to convert them. So I'm going to go with a common denominator of 15. I get there by doing 5 times 3 is 15, and whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So that's going to give me negative 12 over 15. And I have to convert this one also. So 3 times 5 is 15. If I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. So I'm going to bring my plus sign down, and 3 times 5 is 15. And 2 times 5 is 10, and I'm going to keep the sign that was there. Equals. Now, my denominators are the same. Red rover, bring 15 right over. I'm going to check to see if it's addition. It is. So that means I can check my signs. They're the same, and the same means I can add. So I'm going to get 22 over 15. And to simplify that, I'm going to divide 22 by 15, which leaves me with 1 and 7/15. And I cannot forget my sign, which is negative. Don't forget your sign or it will be wrong on your test. I look to the next one. I see I have a whole number, and I know that any whole number can be made into a fraction by putting it over 1. Now I can check my denominators. My denominators are not the same, which means I need to convert them. So I'm going to go with 5. So I know that 1 times 5 is 5, and if I do the bottom, I have to do the same thing to the top. So 5 times 12 is 60, and 5 times 1 is 5. Don't forget your sign. Bring the rest of the problem down. Now, are my denominators the same? They are. Red rover, bring 5 right over. Now I need to check to see, is it addition? It's not. So I will do absolutely nothing to the first fraction, but I do need to do something to this. So I'm going to change it to the opposite, which is plus. And if I change that to the opposite, I also have to change this to the opposite, which is positive. Now, I do have an addition problem, so that means I can check my signs. They're different, which means I'm going to subtract. So 60 minus 4 is 56. And I'm going to keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is negative. Now I need to simplify this. So I'm going to divide 56 by 5. And I know that 5 times 10 is 50. And it's going to leave me with 6. Whoops, I should have done 11. 5 times 11 is 55, which leaves me with 1. So it's 11 and 1/5. And my sign stays the same. It's negative 11 and 1/5. Didn't go high enough. Got to check yourself. Okay, the next one we have 2 1/2 plus negative 5/6. So I'm going to first convert my mixed number to an improper fraction. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2 because we keep the same denominator. It is positive, so I'm going to keep that positive. And I'm just going to bring the rest of the problem down. Now, check your denominators. My denominators are not the same, so I need to find a common denominator. And I'm going to use 6 because I know that 2 times 3 is 6. So 2 times 3 is 6. If I do the bottom times 3, I have to multiply the top times 3. So that gives me 15/6. And remember, it is positive, so I'm going to keep that positive. Now I'm going to bring down the rest. So check those denominators. They are the same, so Red Rover, send that 6 right over. So we bring it over. Now I check to see if it's an addition problem. It is, so that means I can check my signs. They are different, which means I need to subtract. So 15 minus 5 is 10, and I keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is positive. Now I can't leave this like that. So 10 divided by 6 is 1. I'm left with 4, which is 1 4/6. And I know I can reduce that by 2, so it is equal to 1 2/3. And it is positive. Okay, next. Negative 1 2/5. I need to around the world. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. Keep the denominator, keep the sign. Bring down your plus sign. I need to go around the world again. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Keep the denominator, keep the sign. Now, check your denominators. They're not the same, so I need to find one. I'm going to use 15. 5 times 3 is 15. Whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top. So that's going to give us 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 5 is 15. Keep your sign. Bring down the plus sign. We need to convert this one to a denominator of 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. 8 times 5 is 40. Keep your sign. Now, denominator is the same. Red Rover, bring 15 right over. It is an addition problem, so that means I can check my signs. My signs are the same, which means I can add, and I'm going to get 61. And I'm going to check, and my answer is going to be negative. I can't leave this like this, so I'm going to divide 61 by 15. And I think we're going to go with 4. 4 times 5 is 20. That leaves me with 1. So it is 4 1/15. And I see my sign is negative, so it is negative 4 1/15. Okay. Let's move on to decimals because we will have decimals on our test. Don't know why it's so blurry. It's just not in focus very well. Okay, so let's do negative 10 plus 0.671. I know that this is a positive. It is an addition problem, so I'm going to check my signs. My signs are different, which means I'm going to subtract. And I see that this 10 is a whole number, so that means it is 10 with a decimal to the right. And I'm going to subtract 0.671, and I'm going to fill in my zeros just for placeholders. Now I can subtract. I need to regroup. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down your decimal. And 9 minus 0 is 9. Now I'm going to check to see. I'm just going to move it up here. 9.329. And it is negative because 10 is the largest absolute value. Negative 10 has the largest absolute value. Let's go to number 8. First thing I'm going to check is it an addition problem? It isn't, so that means I need to change to the opposite. Don't do anything to the first number. Change the subtraction sign to addition. Also change your negative sign to positive. Now, I can check my signs. They're different, which means I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to do 4.29 minus 2.1269, and I'm just going to put little placeholder zeros here. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 6 is 3. 8 minus 2 is 6. 2 minus 1 is 1. Bring down your decimal. 4 minus 2 is 2. And the largest absolute value is negative, so my answer is negative. Moving along. It is an addition problem, and I know that this is positive. So now I can check my signs. They're different, which means I'm going to subtract. 45.2 minus 6.8. Notice I lined up my decimals. Now I can subtract as usual. 12 minus 8 is 4. Bring down your decimal. 14 minus 6 is 8, and 3 minus 0 is 3. So my answer is 38.4, and my largest absolute value is positive, so therefore my answer is positive. And lastly, here we go. It is an addition, so that means I can just check my signs. They're the same, which means I'm going to add 2.78 plus 1.3. Notice again, I lined my decimals up, and I'm going to put a 0 here for a placeholder. Add normally. 8 plus 0 is 8. 7 plus 3 is 10. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. And don't forget your decimal. 4.08, and the largest absolute value is negative. Okay, you have a Kahoot to help you review for tomorrow's test. I hope you do well on it. Make sure you're signing in with your real name so I can see how you did. Good luck.